This is the HaltingWinter Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. Today, we start a three-part series talking about sales strategies. How do we close more sales? How do we get more effective at just the sales process? How do we handle sales? How do we do that whole thing to actually serve our clients best? That's what we're going to dive in today and this week. A three-part series, the three things I think you should think about to make your sales strategy more successful. So again, Halting Winter, we are here to empower small business owners to break free from the daily grind so that you can achieve exponential growth in your revenue and in your impact. Again, a small business that thrives is impacting their community and the world around them for good. You should then grow your revenue. You should feel good about growing your revenue and your profits. Why? Because the more revenue and profits you make, the better your business is. Not only the products and services that you give your customers, but the way you can serve and love on your employees. So we want you to continue to grow. We want you to continue to be healthy. Again, we're talking about sales strategies. So let's dive in and make this happen. Number one, the first thing I want to talk about and encourage you to do when it comes to sales strategy is this. How do we build strong relationships? Sales is about relationship. The tighter you can form a relationship, the more likely you will be able to close that sale. And so again, we're not manipulating people. We are actually serving people. And I think people who build relationships can actually serve one another the best because a relationship is built on knowing someone. I want to know you to know if I can actually serve you best. Here's the thing. If you're a healthy, and by healthy, I mean just a good business owner, you actually care about people, you are going to, once in a while, hopefully not often, but once in a while, you're going to turn a customer away and say, you know what, I don't think I can help you specifically the way you need to be helped. You need something else, and I don't think we're a good fit. That shouldn't happen often because your marketing should be getting people who actually have the problems that you can solve. So that might not be, but that would be, sometimes you're just going to go, yeah, I think you're in a different place that I don't think I have the expertise, or this is not just I don't think this would be a good fit. And that would tell you, right? You're not just trying to win customers and close them and we'll figure it out if I can serve you. No, you're trying to actually get to know them and build real relationships. So let's talk about this. How do you build a strong relationship inside the sales process? Well, first off, you don't start by talking about you, right? Once your marketing captures their attention, and all of a sudden you get on a phone call or you're going back and forth in, right? Maybe it's in DMs or emails or whatever your sales process is, your sales funnel. You don't just want to bombard people talking about yourself. Even if they ask you, you want to try to turn that back to them to say, well, let me get to know about you. Like how are you? What's going on in your life that has a connection to what I do, right? Don't start talking about you. Don't start talking about your product. Sales is not about you. It's about them. Start by listening. Start by discovering. Don't just listen because we go, I'm just going to listen so that then I can hear a quiet spot and talk again. No. Listen with intentionality to discover. I'm trying to discover things like this. What are their current frustrations? How do they feel about their current experience? What are their current obstacles? What are the real, tangible, physical things in their way from a better life, from having their problem solved, right? So again, if you're a window gutter cleaning company, their problem is their gutters are dirty. Their roof has moss on it, right? Their windows are filthy and they're going to have people over, or they're just tired of the filth. They want to make sure that things aren't getting stained and things aren't decreasing in value. So they want to keep up on their house, right? They have a problem and you want to figure that out. You don't want to just assume that you understand it. Never assume. I think assumptions are the death of small businesses because you start to assume you know your customer better than you actually do. So you just tell them what their problem is instead of going, hey, I probably know because this ain't my first rodeo. Especially if you've been in business 5, 10 years, right? You're going to hear it all. But don't assume that you know that particular customer. You may have knowledge that your ears can help because you have that experience. But don't assume. Instead, listen. Listen with the intentionality to discover their particular frustrations and obstacles. Listen and use their language, right? You want to be like if I'm a window gutter cleaner, tell me about your house. Tell me about, when did you buy that house? You're listening for interesting facts. You're listening to see how they value their house, because maybe they don't really value it. They're just like, well, it's the gutters are overflowing, so now I'm forced to do it. Well, you're not going to create any empathy with them. If they don't care for their house, they're not going to buy into the empathy of you if you're trying to care for it and be like, oh yeah, man, 2006 was such a great year in construction. Like, no, they don't care. They just need their problem solved. So I'm gonna attack someone who doesn't really care about their house and is now being forced to do it. It's kind of like the person who doesn't really care about their car, and all of a sudden it's just clunking and it's smoking, and they're like, fine, I'm gonna pull in and get it done. I'm not gonna endear them by telling them all about how awesome their car is and what great year it is. They obviously don't care. What I'm gonna say is, man, I get it. Taking care of a car is a pain in the butt. Isn't it a hassle? I'm here to take off that hassle. We're gonna tune this up and get it ready. I want to encourage you. I know that's a pain in the butt, but if you know what, I'm just gonna do a reoccurring schedule to put you on our calendar. We're gonna give you a call every 5 months, every 4 months, every whatever, right? And just give you a call and see how the car's doing, and remind you it's probably good to bring it in. Can we do that for you? That would be a help. See, all of a sudden I'm trying to get to know them. Now, if they are a high-end, love their car, right, then I want to embody that and be like, man, yes, this car is so cool. Blah, 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 blah. What attracted you to it? Why did you buy this one specifically? Oh, did you get this on it, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're talking their language. You're endearing yourself to them with your knowledge. You're caring for both customers. You haven't lied to either customer, right? Now, you would never probably treat, if you're a mechanic, you would never treat your car, maybe, like the first person who just doesn't care, but you can have empathy for them. You can go, I get it. It can be a hassle, right? You're not lying. You're not like playing like I got to act in all these different ways. No, you're being true to yourself. You can have empathy without acting like you would be them. Does that make sense? So you're listening to create empathy. You're not listening to have to put on a suit and a different outfit and be someone else. That's not what we're doing here. That's called fakery. That's manipulation. We're trying to create empathy. We're trying to really understand where our audience is and speak to them in a way that makes them feel like, I get it, and I want to take care of you. I want to solve your problem. So I'm listening. I'm listening and trying to repeat back to them what they're saying in their language, not in mine, in their language. I'm creating empathy. And empathy, especially as you press into the feelings, how do they feel? The first person just feels overwhelmed that now the thing that they use to get them from A to Z is not functioning right. It's not working right. So they're just overwhelmed. So I'm here to take off that overwhelm. Whereas the other person who just loves their car and they baby it and they do, right? They're trying to make sure that they baby their car. So you want to take care of their baby. Two totally different scenarios, but you're giving them the same service. You're just going to speak differently to them because they need to hear a totally different message, the one that they're already articulating to you. So see, when you listen, when you push in and try to discover without assuming, you're going to be able to sell 10 times better because you are now, and you're trying to create empathy. You're trying to really hear where they're at, what their language is, what's important to them. So, and empathy builds trust. You're building a relationship because you're actually caring. You're not doing this just to make a sale. You're doing this because you actually care about people and you want to serve people. So create that empathy. Build the groundwork then to display your authority. You can't just punch people with authority. It's it's arrogant, right? If someone comes in, that first person with their broken down car and like, oh, I guess I need to get an oil change. And you go, yes, you do. You needed to get this 3,000 miles ago, you idiot. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, don't you care for your car? Isn't it your baby? Like, if you treat them like they're the first person but a failure, or the second person who loves their car, like, that's not going to win them. It's going to make them feel foolish. It's going to make them be like, Now they're you have authority, but you beat them over the head with it. You clubbed them with it. It's like all the memes about like the IT department. Like, whenever you have a problem with your computer at work and you have to call the IT department, it's like, oh, I'm going to get a lecture. Did you turn it off? Did you restart it? Why do you have all the tabs open? And they look at you like an idiot. Now, I'm not saying all IT guys are like this, but it's kind of the stereotype, right? Because again, they know all the secrets. I just want the computer to turn on and do my email, right? I don't need it to do all the gadgets and gizmos, but they do. And they think anyone who doesn't understand all that, it's kind of stupid. And they might be right. We are kind of stupid, but we just don't care. So I'm gladly stupid. Right? So this is the thing. We all have knowledge in an area. Be careful that you build empathy, therefore trust, so that your authority comes across as helpful, not arrogant and not shameful. Hopefully that helps. So you're building a relationship. Now you're being careful that when it's time for some authority, it's gentle, it's empathetic, and it's really helpful, right? You don't go into education mode. And you don't go into all the features that you're going to be able to do. You simply are responding to what they're saying. You're just you're keeping in the relationship framework, right? If I'm on a date with someone and they're talking about how they love to travel and we're talking about travel, and all of a sudden I veer off to, traveling's also about the clothes you wear and about the suitcase and I'm kind of going down some rabbit road that they really haven't, and I'm just going into all my expertise about this in-depth thing. They're just like, oh, I was just talking about, traveling and food, and now you're talking about luggage and about and I'm just overwhelming them with all my expertise, but they're kind of, they've lost, right? Because they haven't mentioned that at all. They haven't mentioned luggage or specific clothing or toiletries and gadgets and gizmos. They just talked about traveling to fun places and eating good food. And I expanded it because I have all this knowledge into areas that now turn them off. It made them fall asleep. So be careful, because again, you have all the expertise. You have the understanding of all the features that your products and services do. So don't overwhelm them. Stay in the frame. Keep connected to what they have talked about, to what they have spoken about. So let me recap. To build a strong relationship, you start by listening. You start by discovering, by figuring out what is their problem. I call this the hell. What is their hell? What's the hell that they're experiencing? The hell is like my car is smoking. Or I'm nervous that my baby isn't going to be totally taken care of. So I'm in here every 1,000 miles getting the oil change, right? Two totally different spectrums, but I'm trying to listen and discover so that I can serve each one of them. I'm going to give them the same service. The oil change isn't different for the guy babying his car versus the one that's abused his car. It's the same work. It might be easier for the guy who's babied his car than it is, because this one might have done some severe damage that now I got to be looking for. But it's the same oil change. Same all-star service. So, but I'm trying to create empathy, to create authority, to help them specifically, so that I can endear myself to them. I can build trust. And then I'm going to give them a picture of their heaven. Hey, we got it. We got you. We got your baby, and we got the car that you abuse. And we're going to get them both into tip-top condition. I affirm them. I give them a picture of their heaven. We're gonna take that stress off of you and make sure your car's running for you. We're going to treat your baby like the world-class baby she is and take the stress off of you, right? They both have stresses. They're different. But we're going to do the same service to make sure that they win, right? I'm going to free you of frustration and make you win. That is called building a strong relationship. So that's the first thing. I hope that encourages you to think, how am I engaging with my customers? When they come through my sales funnel, through marketing or through just a conversation, maybe I meet someone and we talk about what we do and they go, oh, that's interesting. How am I doing more listening than talking? How am I listening with the intentionality to discover the language I would use, what problems they actually have, so I can see if I can actually solve them. And if I can, I invite them into that with care, with trust, with authority, with real care. You're going to close more sales because you're going to actually be a person who people want to trust with their problems, want to trust to be their solution. So there it is. if we can help you dial in your sales strategy, help you kind of think through that with customers. That's kind of one of these things, a lot of sales, that's when we kind of do sale workshops, they're very interactive because you kind of have to practice this. It's one of the listening skills have to be practiced, listening with intentionality. And so anyway, if we can help with that, let us know. Want you to dial in your sales process, want you to think about your customer and how that process would work. Sometimes you just need a better sales script to be able to guide you through that. Intentionality of listening well. So if we can help with that, hit us up, HaltingWinter.com. Think about being part of one of our masterminds to help grow your business. Want to see you grow, want to see you successful. So hit us up, HaltingWinter.com. Until next time.